I call the shots, I never call it quits. Trust my intuition, bet it's right and bitch, it often is. Seen too many others come and go, they had the wrong intent. Do it out of love and never for it, then I watch it get bigger than expected. Don't second guess it, I let it set in. It's God's plan, we out here only accepting blessings. I'm stuck with it, this mindset is terminal. In and out different terminals, leveling up is personal. And I already made it, y'all can miss me. I smack my girl's ass, tell her pinch me. It's hard to believe I made something from nothing. No hindsight discussions, I've been writing, I love it.
Welcome to the 3 Gig Sports Podcast, where we are never wrong, just sometimes misinformed. We are here, and we officially got some football going on, boys.
Yes, sir. And excited, getting down the final weeks here. We have some preseason going on. It's starting to clear up some issues, right? We were going to talk heavily wide receiver, and we will for fantasy. But another one I was thinking about while the music was rolling right there. This makes Danny's tallywhacker feel funny. Trey Lance named the third string quarterback.
Yeah.
What do you do now with him?
So, interesting thing that I saw last night, I think, and I can't remember who it was, if it was like Schefter or what, but basically it's all but done. They just have to figure out who they're going to trade him to. Is they're working on trading Trey and potentially Bosa.
What?
So I gotta find this link so I can share it to you guys. But yeah, I saw that last night. They were talking about that. Maybe they don't want to pay him on the Bosa side, right? Because they're not going to get anything for Trey. So my only thought is, like, then you could get a bunch of shit and get rid of, the money and a shitty quarterback. I'm not sure what that looks like, but yeah, I'll find that link and I'll send it to you guys. But
yeah, it's interesting because I wonder if there's not as much talk about it right now, because they said Brock Purdy isn't looking the sharpest yet in training camp. I know, coming off the elbow injury and whatnot, things are going to be, not quite 100%.
Right.
So I wonder if they're just waiting a little bit, because I haven't seen too much trade talk yet. But that would be interesting.
Well, at this point, his trade value is
shit.
What?
Probably
right?
Not good.
They should have figured something out before this,
last year.
Because if you listen to, even if it was before he started playing a preseason game where it looked really bad, at least you had a little bit in your head that maybe you would have given a third rounder away or something at that point.
Yeah.
But
did we not learn from Carson Wentz? Did we not learn? He did ball out that one year until he got hurt.
Carson Wentz did well until he started getting mind fucked.
He really did that, and he got that. The one year he did all right, and then
the one year he was the shutdown MVP until he got hurt.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's their Super Bowl year, their eventual Super Bowl year.
Yep. And then all the mind fucking after that. But yeah.
Yeah. Now he just warms up as a free agent with a jersey of a different team, a helmet of a different team, and what was the other thing? He had all three teams on his shit while he's presenting a video or something.
Yeah. What was I listening to? That trade for Trey Lance turned into Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and is it Chubb on the defensive side over there that they got?
Okay.
Bradley
Yeah.
Chubb,
Yeah. So those three guys is who they ended up with, and the Niners got Trey Lance. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
It is. I'm still not sold on giving up on the young man. I'm really not. I don't think Kyle Shanahan was ever sold didn't want Trey Lance. He didn't want Trey Lance. So if you don't want something, or you can give everything you got to show on somebody, if it's someone you never wanted and it was kind of pressed down on you, when you guys get a second, look at it was just a few days ago, maybe last week, he had to sit down with NFL Network during training camp or whatever, and he basically all but says that. He really does. You can read between the, and then because he's been big on, because he was hyping up Jimmy from last year and everything, and he's like, we just knew that it isn't that we didn't like Jimmy anymore. We just knew we were going to go in a different direction. We had a very man-to-man talk about it, and he was more than excited in the role that he was coming in. But he's always had a big thing for Purdy. He's seen him in camp and everything. He said he had been psyching him up to like the uppers and everything like that, and they finally were going to get an opportunity, and they were going to name him the starter like for this season, or he ended up playing like last year, and they were talking, and he's like, wow, that's where he tried to like put a gray area in there. He had to listen to him. He tried to put a little gray area so that he couldn't be wrong. He's like, I told him, I was like, they're like, well, you're real excited. This is your guy. He gets a role now. He's like, well, that was in practice, kind of one things, and he ended up knocking out of the park, right?
Yeah.
Last year, it translated from practice to the game. He's been more sold on him. Did he ever give the full effort to Trey Lance to actually showing him especially when you got to catch him up? Because was it his fault that COVID hit and then D2 canceled, or FCS canceled their season until the spring, which then you're getting ready for the NFL draft,
Right.
So you have a little catching up to do when he only had one full season. I'm not ready to throw the towel in on him. I'm not as sold as him coming to Minnesota as I was in the past. I will say that, but
Bring him in.
you know what? Bring him in. Why? He isn't going to take over Kirk's job. We know that. And do we have the for sure guy back there? Why wouldn't you find out?
Yeah, I don't know.
He's
You'll get it for
He's no
cheap.
Twisted Tenners, so
Yeah,
Hell no.
Yeah, he leading us to the Super Bowl that way.
hell
But
no.
It's hard to give somebody like a real shot when they look that bad, though. Like if you look that bad at practice all the time, and you have a good team who should be winning a majority of your games, are you gonna give him a shot?
Yeah, and you're probably
to
a
cost your
quarterback
team?
away.
Yeah.
well, maybe he needs to learn a different version of personality. But has what he's done there on tape? We can bring up his highlights because he had some great throws too. We're forgetting about that. Can we say the same thing about your guy Richardson? He had a shit ass game, right? But he had some baller ass moments. The energy's different in the building. They think he's the guy, right? That's a feeling. Even, are they really throwing any different than the other person? Are they really?
Well, so that's the difference in the teams, right? The
Yeah.
Niners are going to be a good team
Yeah.
with or without him, right?
So they're
Indy
saying-
can afford to throw him in, and it's not, you know what I mean? They're not going to
Let
be
him
way
learn.
better, way worse, whatever. Yeah. I don't know if you can afford to do that if you're Kyle. Like, can we afford to lose, 3 straight games, 4 straight games? Whatever. Like,
Right.
it's so much
I'm just
different.
saying, if he's not your guy, you're not going to give him any leeway. Has he had that much leeway? He got banged up. How much leeway has he had since being a first round pick? How many stabs has he really had at it, gentlemen?
Well, I think also if you're the first round pick,
Because
I
he
think
got injured.
I think your leash too is a little short. Like you're expected to come in and be
Right, but I got to
That guy.
get passionate about this one with you guys. What leash did he have at all? Name the leash he had. Name how many games this man has played. That's not a leash. He didn't even have a half a season.
Right.
He got hurt, so I'm saying the leash was never shown. He couldn't get into a rhythm. That's what I'm getting at. Like name a guy with a shorter leash. They gave Mayfield fucking 4 years or whatever, and he keeps getting a starting gig every place he goes, which we'll get to in a little bit. But
Well, I think it's just whoever's playing well. I mean, look at what they did with Dak and Tony Romo. Like Romo got hurt, Dak come in, the team just kept winning and played well. You've got to roll
Yeah.
with that guy. I think that's kind of just the same type of deal. There,
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That's why I'm saying you don't give up on him, and they didn't give him the opportunity anyway. And it just so happened that Purdy came in, which it wasn't supposed to happen, right? Mr. Irrelevant, you're not supposed to be able to take over that offense and roll like that, right?
Yeah.
Little different scenario. He was a 4-year starter, right, for Iowa State, and came with a lot of experience. Actually, he fits that system perfectly, right?
Yeah.
I think you have to, like, it says a lot because Shanahan has the most quarterback-friendly system, right? And almost anybody. Baker could go there and play well, right? They'd probably still win 10 games or whatever. Like, if you have a guy in Trey that comes in and doesn't understand it, obviously isn't playing well with it, they're not winning.
If there's something,
But other guys do. Basically, every other guy that's played quarterback there. That says a lot about
that's
him.
where I'll concede a little bit because I don't know if there's something missing up here. Fine, okay,
Yeah.
then they should. I wish somebody would come out and kind of say that, but I'm assuming I'm assuming that he's intelligent enough to grasp this stuff. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I'm saying there was no leash. There was literally not where you can work out. It doesn't work out that smoothly every time.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna find out quick with Purdy, even in this system. Second-year quarterback with real game tape,
Hey, we
What's
gotta be
gonna
real
happen?
too. Like you said, they're gonna play the hot hand. Darnold looks really good right now, and he is a stud quarterback when he doesn't mind fuck himself too.
Right.
Right.
And we're all
So-
on board with that for sure.
Yeah.
He could end up being the quarterback this year. We don't know. We don't know what's actually
He could
gonna
be the
happen.
quarterback of the future. He's not that
And
old.
You know, and I think that's probably worst case scenario for any of those quarterbacks. You know, there's a guy right behind you, and I think that's where Darnold was back with the Jets. Like he knew there was a guy, looking over his shoulder, like, "Hey, I'm up next."
Yeah.
just waiting for you.
It's a perfect scenario for him because hold on,
He's
it's
not the guy in front.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not the guy in front. I don't have very many expectations. This offense is quarterback friendly. The guy that I possibly would have to beat out, even though they've named him the starter, is only a second-year player that was Mr. Irrelevant that didn't really tear the roof off in college either.
Right.
You know,
he's
like-
gotta be.
And then I have a head case over here in Trey Lance because
Right.
that's probably what's going to happen. The unfortunate thing is that it's going to ruin his career, I think. He's got to be mentally strong. If he
Yeah.
bounces back,
Yeah.
great. It's going to be because of up there. I think he didn't get any bit of a leash. It doesn't help that Purdy did very well, and he did very well. It isn't like you just came in there and you only passed for like 200 yards, 1 touchdown or anything per game. No, you were actually kind of lighting it up too. So, unfortunately, I'm just saying, from what I've seen, it's no different than some other scenarios. And unfortunately for him, it looked like it was going to be a great scenario when he got drafted by him. I think this could end up ruining his career.
Yeah.
So, I was looking over the list of wide receivers, gentlemen. The clear-cut number ones are pretty obvious, right? So I have the half-point rankings up off of the score. And do I have it? Because we do a half point, and they have it as Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, C.D. Lamb, A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. All those, for the most part, except for maybe number 10 and number 8, you might actually make a conversation for. I assume Wilson's would be more because of what you could see, what he did last year with no quarterback versus what you're getting this year with Aaron Rodgers, correct?
Yeah.
And then, what do you think about the Ross St. Brown? Like he's in front of guys like Chris Olave, Jalen Waddle, T. Higgins, Devontae Smith, DK Metcalf. What are we thinking there? Is he worthy of a 10?
If it was a full PPR, I would say yeah.
Okay.
Because he gets a shitload of receptions, right? He doesn't necessarily have the yards and touchdowns and everything. In that offense, it got better too, so they might spread the ball around a little bit more, not just have him. So I do worry a little bit about Amos. Yeah, for sure.
You're not quite seeing him as a top 10 receiver. What about you, Rio?
I do like him. I think he's going to get a lot of targets still. Playing in the slot a lot. Yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, I think he's still going to be solid.
Let's put it in the context like this. Would you'd feel probably better about him being your number 2 receiver than your number 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like you
definitely.
were-
He's
you-
not gonna. Yeah, he's so. If in that question, yeah, I'm not trying to get him as my number 1.
Okay.
He'd definitely.
You'd
be
feel
my
real
number
good as
2.
your number 2, though.
I'd feel really good.
You
yeah.
wouldn't feel as good as if he was your number 1.
Yeah, he
though.
was my first guy, right? That I'm playing in that one slot. Definitely.
Especially
hey,
because you have
kickers will save you. Don't worry.
Oh, thank God.
That's right. We do have to do a kicker episode, by the way. But I mean, AJ Brown.
Yes.
AJ Brown is after him, right? And I would definitely take AJ Brown over him all day.
For sure.
Garrett
Wilson.
Wilson
too,
and Jalen
I
Waddle.
think. Yeah.
Which one are you guys looking at?
ESPN's
Oh, I'm looking
just
at
PPR wide receiver
Okay,
rankings.
I'm looking at the score. Go ahead. Oh, so it's a little. Yeah, there's a little different, but okay.
And I just
Well-
go with PPR because we're half point, whatever. It's
Of those guys, we'll say we just named like 10 of them right there, right?
Mhm.
Let's take Justin Jefferson out. So I think that'd be pretty close to 1 for everybody, wide receiver.
Yep.
If not, then it's Tyreek Hill. Okay, right? I would assume. Or am I assuming wrong?
Chase.
Yeah, Jamar Chase.
I think I got Jamar Chase too. He
Okay.
gets looks.
All right. So what I want to know, is there any guy name the guy outside of, I don't want, you just leaked one to me, Jamar. So So I don't want Jamar. I don't want Tyreek Hill because these are kind of obvious guys, right? Those are the 1, 2, 3. I think we can combo with that. Give me the guy that you are not going to be shocked if they actually end the season as wide receiver number 1 in fantasy, please.
I do hate to be a little biased, but I think CD's got a good shot with Brooks coming in, Brandon Cooks coming over. Michael Gallup looks good this year. You know, he's not being a head case about that ACL now. He's got a full off season to recover, a full training camp back in him, and looking good in camp. I think that offense. I think he's really going to benefit from all those guys on the field, and I wouldn't be surprised if he put up those kind of numbers.
Okay, I like it. I actually don't have a debate with that one at all. What do you got, Danny?
So health is a big consideration, but Cooper Kupp could easily end up number 1 as well. Like before he got hurt last year, he was trending better than he did his
record-breaking.
Yeah. So Cooper Kupp is a guy, and even I mentioned him a little bit ago. Like I could see AJ Brown ended up at the top spot too if they're more consistent with how they pass and stuff like that. Get a little less run heavy, which could happen as Hurts gets better in his passing game. I think AJ Brown could be one of those guys too. Yeah.
Got another one, but you might take him.
I like them both. I'm gonna throw one then. Mine's AJ Brown.
Okay.
AJ Brown obviously will be. When we're making this discussion, we're believing that they're going to play pretty damn close to a full season. Okay.
Yeah.
So take the injuries part out of this. Brown was something stupid special, right? And they have all the weapons around that takes the pressure off. Like they can't double team him regularly. They might be able to have another set of eyes, like safety over the top or something. Maybe you have too many weapons out there. You can't. And that dude could take the top off. He has a full season under his belt in Philly, and Jalen still has something to prove. You know,
sure.
I don't know if I'm sold to. I like Jalen. I don't know where this is going to lead eventually. Like if he's ever win a Super Bowl or anything like that. I hope not. Not with Philly because I hate Philly. But that being said, AJ Brown is the guy for me. That just stupid. He has every athletic thing. He's size, strength, speed, everything. It's going to be probably that for me.
Mm-hmm.
But would I take it from you?
No, not
Okay.
at all. I was actually going another one, which we chatted about last time we did a little bit. And another guy, Calvin Ridley, I think has a good chance that he may sneak up there and be number 1. That offense has a lot of playmakers on it, but I think Trevor Lawrence is going to fall in love with actually having a true number 1.
That receiver,
Having
right?
That guy, having a guy that can be the dude that will go up and get it. He can run by people. He runs sharp routes. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's probably got a chip on his shoulder, right? He can come in and be the number 1. He doesn't have to compete because that year he was with Atlanta, right? He had old boy with him, Julio. And so still competing with targets. Was there when Kyle Pitts was there?
No, that was the year that was a suspended season. Yep.
So I think he had a little bit of competition for some targets. You know, you had an aging quarterback. And now I think you're gonna get a guy who'll probably look at you a whole lot, and you have weapons there that can complement you, so you won't see those double teams. I think he could be really sneaky for a number 1, at least top 3.
I love that pick. I love that you pulled him all the way from down in the rankings too, because I believe that too. We watched that video. Who was it? It was Zay Jones, runs a 4.48 or 4.46, whatever the hell it is, on a route. They're sitting there watching, and he looked good. And Zay Jones looked good, right? It looked good.
Oh, yeah.
Calvin Ridley goes right after that, and it was like double the speed. It was stupid. It was crisp. And it wasn't like it was a fly. It was a fucking...
Yeah. It was
a slant, in route, whatever the fuck it was. It was quick, and it was so much faster. That's the him. That's the him factor, the Brody factor, and that's what he has. So I like that you pulled that one all the way from down there instead of out of the projected top 10 already.
That could be one of the biggest values because that fucker's going relatively low. Like in our league, it would be early round 3, right?
Yep.
Normal leagues, it might be late second round, but I like that too.
You still get that legit, like he said, top 5 wide receiver that late is stupid.
Yeah.
So that brings me to my next question for you, gentlemen. I want you to pull a guy. I want that guy that is going to be the number 1 on a team. Now you already gave Calvin. You got to leave that one alone. Give me the guy that most people aren't talking about that will end up in, say, the top 10. Calvin Ridley, we actually all at the table do believe so. So we're going to make that one very clear.
Yeah.
And then also keep it in your mind that the back half of that question is going to be who is in the top 10 that you think that's going to fall off this season. That you may not even be on your draft board, or it's going to have to be a stupid sweet deal where you grab them at.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you who I'm worried about first.
Okay.
Devontae Adams.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah, I'm worried about him. He doesn't have, the quarterback isn't the same kind of playmaker. It's got to be designed really well for him, right? He's a good quarterback, but he doesn't make guys better. I don't even know, maybe he's had 1,000-yard receiver in his career. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm worried about Devontae, unless he gets a shitload of touchdowns and just not the catches and yards. That's a guy that I'm worried about at least.
He's still pushing for the trade, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I
don't know if
vaguely
that's
heard
still
something
going.
about that.
Yeah,
I don't know, but
Yeah, not sure. A guy that I like because quarterback play is going to be improved, and it's in at 26 on ESPN anyways. DJ Moore. I feel he's way back there. Great route runner. I think with the Panthers, he was kind of struggling with quarterback play and just overall team play. I think Chicago's going to be much better offensively, defensively, maybe not so much. So may have to pass a lot more. Then you bring your quarterback home, get mobile, and give you more time to find an open spot in the defense. I think he could slide up there, top 10, top 12 kind of guy in that offense. And with Justin Fields kind of finally finding his rhythm and going, being better passing wise, I think the coaches can use him better correctly. And if I'm really just wondering what the hell is going on, Stephon Diggs, he's sitting at 6 right now. That dude's got head case written all over him. As soon as he's not getting the ball thrown to him regularly, I could actually see them maybe trying to move on from him at some point during the season and get
Diggs.
Yep.
Okay, you stole mine. That's where. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like hey, we've got a team that's really close. Sure, you're pretty important, but is that important as tearing the locker room apart? And putting that one in the quarterback's head or whatever. We got a lot of playmakers still here on offense. Brought in some guys that maybe can run the rock for you. Yeah, I could see them actually trading him, and I think he could
to
also
the Raiders for Devontae Adams.
Yeah, boom, let's go straight up.
I guarantee you. What did Josh Allen be like? Fuck yes, let's do this.
Right.
Yeah.
Quietly,
So-
but nah, Diggs, love you, bro.
I could see that if it's still a problem coming up and there's chemistry's just all messed up. I could see them being like, all right, let's it's time to. There's a reason Minnesota moved on.
Yeah.
Right. So let's do the same.
And that year that he was supposed to completely kick the door down, right, in Minnesota, when he started having his dysfunction, it started affecting his game. It started slipping up a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the stats, like if you go back and you're just looking at purely stats, you had to watch him play and like what
Right.
could have been.
Effort
What could have been if he gave everything he did have.
Yeah.
When he's unhappy, it starts breaking down the team, like you said. So you both kind of took both of mine in that one.
I mean, he's still talented enough. I think he could be your top 20 for sure.
Yeah.
Even if he's at Buffalo or there, but I think attitude and effort, I think is going to come into play. So I could see that happening, him really dropping.
Okay.
But yeah, give me DJ Moore, man. I think he's.
Has the potential to be top 10.
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay. Yeah, I think Justin Fields. You get coaches that want him to succeed, the right kind of play calls. He started finding a rhythm, not just with his legs. We're going to start. Yeah, that too. That offense is looking better, like I said, and being that the defense is still going to be bad, they could be in some shootouts.
Okay. I'm liking it.
I'm going to go
Oh.
with an old man.
Let's do it.
If you take mine, I'm going to kick you in the dick.
I'm pretty sure this is who you're going to say because it makes sense. I'm going to go DeAndre Hopkins.
Ooh, no, but I like it. All right, go ahead. Feed us why.
So he's going second, third roundish, depending on kind of what you're looking at. But they don't have any weapons, right? We saw what happened with A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown's a stud. They didn't throw the ball a ton. He got all the catches, all the touchdowns. And DeAndre Hopkins probably a little step slower, right? But when you're getting fed 80% of whatever amount of their pass attempts is, you're going to get some numbers. You're going to do great in fantasy. I think Hopkins has a great shot to be a really good value there and fucking help out. Potential one for
There
sure.
we go. I'm digging that one. If I had to throw numbers on him, I bet you he still has a good 1,300 yard season in him. Remember, we have 17 games, so I'm giving a little bit of boost. But when
Yeah.
you're getting all the targets down there, I agree with you.
And it's a little bit of a prove-it season for him too, right? Everybody
Yeah.
passed him up. He's like,
Tannehill
"Fuck
is
you
too, so
guys."
he's going to wing it too. He's not going to play conservative. He has these guys. Malik Willis is evidently playing pretty well, at least in practice. Isn't like he threw the ball real well against Minnesota, but he did have a throwing touchdown. He had a bunch of yards rushing. He's nipping on the heels. They want to give it to somebody. Levis wasn't able to go in that game, but he has something to prove too. So
Well, he did in the extra 3 plays they ran.
What do you mean?
They ran 3 extra plays at the end of the game.
Oh,
Each
did they?
team got to run 3 or 6 or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He got one of the snaps.
Oh, there we go.
Preseason's
Levis?
so weird.
It's
Really?
so- yeah.
Levis did?
Yeah.
Okay. Just give him one. That's stupid.
Yeah, that's
Well-
what I had said. I was like, what?
I might as well just had him the
It
whole
was like,
thing.
I
come
think
on.
it was on the goal line, like within the 10, too. They
Oh,
ran.
okay.
I was like, what the?
That's stupid. But regardless, these cats are nipping at his heels. They already know. He knows this is going to be his last season, most likely there. So he's going to be trying to wing it too. Like, show that he could do something other than just be a manager, a clock manager. Mine's going to be, you took both of my, I'm going to be honest, you guys took both of my guys that I would take that would drop out. I think the rest are pretty damn solid to stay up there. Maybe the Amon-Ra St. Brown. They have him 10 up here. That's the one guy I'm not sold on yet. I love his intensity. He runs very crisp routes. He has something to prove. I listened to one of the podcasts. He was on a podcast with 2 Bears fans, and oh my God, you got to watch the clip of this. He's like, yeah, so you guys are Bears fans, right? And then they're like, yeah, and he's just like, Bears. It just kept, dude. It's like, yeah, because I think his brother was over there or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That what is that?
Yeah.
Aquanius or whatever his name was.
Okay.
St. Brown.
Yep.
And he's like, but he was very serious. There's a competitive look in this cat's eyes. Do I believe he can end up top 10? Yeah, he just doesn't. I need to see it, and I'm not quite sold. So if there's one I got to give that isn't there, it's probably that.
Mhm.
Don't know if the touchdowns are going to quite be there, which is what you need for the most part, unless you're getting stupid Justin Jefferson numbers with receptions and yards. Because he didn't have like a bunch of touchdowns last year. My comeback from back here, I had 2. I love the Calvin Ridley one from earlier. There's a low hanging fruit one that Deebo Samuel's down there. I'm
I'm worried about him though. Myself, that's just.
I'm not that one. I'm not as worried about because you actually have like running backs, and anytime you have him running the ball out of the backfield versus Christian McCaffrey, you're kind of being foolish at that point. Because what are you trading what for what at that point?
Yep.
Like now we can use it as a receiver. If we're running one surprise play out of the back, something like that, fine. But you're not gonna. I don't think you're gonna see 5 rushes or something a game anymore from him. So that one I'm a little surprised by. That one I could see actually sneak up in there, especially with Purdy back there, and his timing and everything like that. But that isn't the one I want to sell you on. It's actually the boy we made fun of Rio's team for, and that is. Yeah, that's Mr. Amari Cooper. So last year, with all the bullshit that was going on, right? I looked up his shit real quick. He had 1,100 yards and 9 touchdowns on 78 catches last year. Now, he did that. He did that all without, not all, but a high majority of that without Deshaun. He didn't have Deshaun until the last 6 games. In those 6 games where Deshaun is trying to figure himself out because he hasn't played football in, 2 years at this point, right? I think it was more about Deshaun than anything, but his numbers still didn't fall tremendously horrible. They weren't sexy, but they weren't horrible while Deshaun's finding himself. He had 21 catches for 368 and 2 touchdowns in those 6 games. While Deshaun was finding himself. Deshaun was having his own issues, right?
Yeah.
I'm sold that you're about to get yourself a top 10 receiver in Amari Cooper. This is also banking on Deshaun finding himself finding himself mentally, finding himself a nice
not buy a massage parlor.
I was about
of
to
any
say,
sort.
actually, I was about to say, as soon as he finds himself a good, solid massage parlor where it's not perverted in any way. But I could really see this. I could see this Browns team making a push and a real push for the AFC North. If everything goes well, Myles Garrett's a legit stud, too, on the defense side. Well, I'm not going to go too far into that, but I think that it's really there. I think that there's nothing too scary in the AFC North. They all battle each other pretty nicely, right? And then if Deshaun can get right here, he's going to carry a number one receiver with him, and that'll be Amari Cooper, has proven multiple times over his career. When you still have 1,100 yards and 9 touchdowns with the debacle of the Browns last year, that's still pretty damn good, right?
Yeah.
So that was my guy.
What about, let me bring something up that's a little bit off the wall.
Okay.
Because we don't ever talk about this team for good reason. But I think Terry McLaurin could have a much better year than last year. Right? What do you guys think about that? They're bringing in Bieniemy. Last year, let me give you some stuff, okay? So Washington was like 30th ranked offense. That's because nobody could be worse than Denver last year. Denver was fucking so bad. It's just a bad quarterback and everything. But
thank God I fucking drafted him in the 5th round.
we're both there, dude. I didn't draft him, but I was like,
I thought he was.
Thank God I did it.
Yeah.
But so they're going to get better than that. They can't get worse, right? They've got Bieniemy there, the offensive mind. That's going to help. They're going to spread the ball more. They're going to throw the ball more, faster pace.
Is they have Sam Howell.
Sam Howell was named the starter, too.
Yeah, Sam Howell's named the starter. I just don't know. I think he's a stand-in until Bieniemy can pick his quarterback, honestly.
Real quick, is there, and this is off of your team since we never touched on him, we all see through this, right? Like Rivera's done, Bieniemy will be the
guy.
Be the guy, right? Like that's not really a prediction, but we are saying it out loud. Like they brought him in. This is their way to try him out,
right?
And Rivera hasn't really done anything too much, so this is the way that you just transition.
I think Washington is going to be bad. They're going to.
I don't think Rivera makes it through the season. Actually,
I think Washington is trying to be. I think Washington will try to be bad because you're not beating the Cowboys out. You're not beating the Eagles out. Right? The Eagles may be the best team in football. Well, they're probably top 2 at least behind KC, unfortunately.
Yep.
So they're probably one of the top 2 teams in football. Cowboys are still going to be pretty good. You're not unseating those 2 for division title or getting in. Yep. I think Sam Howell's named the quarterback. I think they're going to tank games, and then Bieniemy is going to be named the coach, and he's going to get to pick his quarterback
in the midseason. I'm building on
whenever
what you're
it
saying.
happens.
I think Rivera's going to lose his job midseason.
Whenever
Bieniemy will have it.
And also, I think there's too many weapons there too. They actually have a bunch of decent wide receivers.
I like that. I think that Dotson.
Johan
Dotson.
Yeah. Who's the other one? Shoot, they had a couple of guys they would throw to. I just think there's one too many receivers, and then the quarterback's not great. And I just think it's a team built to not win, so they can get a quarterback next year.
Okay. I'm more sold on Scary Terry than he is because Scary he puts those numbers up with he does it every year. He does. And can he go up a little bit more from that? Yeah. As long as the one thing I say about rookie quarterbacks or first-time starters in the NFL, however you want to word this, is to have success. And obviously never played in the NFL, never played college, none of that bullshit. But I'm telling you, every single quarterback that has ever gunned for their star has always been in a better place 90% of the time. Don't sit there and try to pretend like you're not I'm out psyching whoever. No, you want the best opportunity. You're gonna find a way to get it to your star player. That receiver has something to prove every day. A dog, right? He feels like he needs to. He plays with that shitty team every day, every year, right? So just don't forget, Sam, that your bread and butter is right there. This dude will lay it out for you. He's here to prove day in and day out. And you have another receiver that I really like over there on the other side. I don't think it's too bad that they have 2 big heavyweights in that division because I actually believe with that defense, because we're forgetting about their defense. Their defense went down a little bit last year, but if you actually look, they just weren't quite getting to the quarterback. They were hitting the quarterback. We got to see it in the show quarterback to watch ours go down. That defense is still the defense. They're going to be in games. Now, the difference is going to be that inexperience at quarterback. that I think will but I think they're still going to be in games. I really do. If they weren't in that division, they'd actually be competing for around that over 500 mark, I believe.
I think
really believe
with
that.
Bieniemy being in there, I always like tight ends, running backs on a team with a young quarterback, and I think with Bieniemy being there, I think it's going to be that much
and
better.
he has decent running backs
think,
too.
I think his tight end, he's going to be targeting them because Bieniemy got to work with several good tight ends, so I think he's going to be like, hey man, this is going to be your check down all the time.
Your check down, yes, but your number one read is going to be scary.
Yeah, I think it's going to be bad. Either way, I think the team's going to be horrible.
I'm not sold like one way or another, but I just struggle with I do think they're going to be last in that division. I'm with you on that because I think the Giants are going to be fine.
Yes, I think the Giants are going to be.
But I think
two
the
heavyweights
offense,
in a playoff contender.
Just thinking
Right.
about the offense, it's going to be better than last year.
Yeah,
It's going to be.
I think
believe
so.
that.
Right?
I think it'll be
I
a little
believe
better.
that.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so it's like, you could look at the running backs and say, like, Gibson, he's probably the best player in the backfield. He just isn't he's more of a pass catching, like, athletic running back. But as far as the receivers, I think Terry has a chance to jump up from what he did last year. A really good shot. That's why I brought that up. I don't know how sold I am necessarily, but I do think it's going to be improved.
This is where I make the statement I asked you guys earlier. I would feel so good about him being my number 2. I would not feel good about McLaurin being my number 1. Even with the boost up that I think he's going to, because that's more in my head that I think he's going to go up a little bit. I'm not sold on that thought process 100% to where I'm like, you know what, I'm going to bank on that as my number 1 receiver. Like, that's my guy I'm going to target, right? Yeah. I want to be upset if he's my number 2 or 3, obviously, for that matter. 3, I'd be ecstatic.
3 for sure.
3, I'd be ecstatic. 2,
sure.
I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
I'm feeling real good about that, actually.
Yeah, I think I just took us more into the, like, value conversation.
Yeah.
Like where he's getting drafted.
Yeah.
Maybe that's more of where I'm at.
No, absolutely. So, continuing on with that exact same thought process, who are you targeting late? And what I'm talking about late, I am talking beyond the 5th round that you believe is going to end up starting more games on your fantasy team than not. Doesn't matter if there are wide receiver. I don't know if we're going to roll 3 or not. We recently had that discussion since we're down to 10-man. But whether he's your 3rd wide receiver or he's playing in your flex, I'm curious who that guy that you're kind of looking at later on. Usually that tends to be, for me, it tends to be like a rookie that we don't know anything about. But sometimes it can be that other guy.
Yeah, I do like rookies. I'll stay off the rookies so we can talk 100% rookies. But I do like Odell Beckham Adam Thielen.
Yeah.
I think Odell Beckham just look how many times the old boy targeted before he got Marquise Brown before he got traded, right? That would be his. If he wouldn't go to tight end, he's going there, right? I think he does have another. I think Zay Flowers is going to be a great young wide receiver coming up, but he's going to go to a proven guy, a baller, guy who wants the ball. I think he's going to go to Odell Beckham a lot.
Okay.
And he's going to be one of those later guys. And then Adam Thielen, I think he's going to be almost one of those security blanket kind of guys for the young quarterback. Something short across the middle or something like that, a zig route. And I think he could develop into kind of like a PPR darling, right? Just get a bunch of receptions. May not blow the roof off 100 yards or anything like that, but maybe get 8, 9, 10 receptions for 60 yards, 70 yards, something like that.
And turn a touchdown or 2 up in there too.
Possibly throw a touchdown for you. So a couple guys I think will be nice late additions if you could get them later.
Okay.
Everything's all weird in our fantasy work draft. People go crazy high.
They have their favorite teams.
Yeah, for whatever.
They want to take your favorite player.
Yeah,
just
because
just to fuck with you. So they're grabbing people early. You don't really know where they're going to end up.
Right.
I believe it or not.
Somebody will shoot off a defense early, so then you'll get some defensive runs in the 5th round and 6th round. And it's like, what the hell?
It gets weird.
It's so weird.
Then you're like, fuck, is that what I need to do now?
Yeah.
No. Okay, all right, be smart. Come on. Stick with it. I don't know, man. Go ahead. If you've got yours.
I got a couple I'll throw.
Go ahead.
And then it gives you a second.
Yeah.
I'm still, so I love the Calvin Ridley one. Okay. I do. I think he's the Brody. He's the lead dog. He's whatever. Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk to be my third wide receiver, probably be starting more times than not. We laughed about it so hard last year, right before the season started. Like, this is a fucking joke, right? That this dude's getting paid more than any receiver at the time, or and then all he did was do work. He went and he did just fine last year. He go over 1,000 yards? I don't have it on me right now, but I mean, I'd feel okay with that. Another one I got to throw out there. See, I will go a little rookie on this one. Everything you're seeing coming out of there is stupid route running. And that's Mr. Jordan Addison. You go with a timing guy like a Kirk Cousins. This dude runs nothing but crisp ass routes. I see nothing but it's every day. I have the Vikings app. I'm sure you have the Cowboys app. Whatever you have on yours, it is every single training camp day, unless he's out because he had a couple light concussion symptoms a few days ago or something like that. So they were being precautious because he came down hard. But every single day, it's another one, another video, another. And it's crisp route running. It isn't, I mean, it's quick. He has very good hands and all that stuff, but his crisp route running, God, I'd feel real good about that one. I bet you he would be starting more times than not, even opposite a Justin Jefferson. I think that does nothing but help a Justin Jefferson, so I think they can both coexist in getting you damn good fantasy points. They're going to have to, for the most part, till this defense adjusts, right? And like if the system ends up working or whatever with these players, because there's no big studs out there, so they're gonna be slinging the ball around.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Minnesota will be slinging the ball around. Worried about just rookie. I am actually. That's probably one of the rookies I do worry about because you got some guys who've been there a while. You got Justin Jefferson and TJ. Who's your other guy that you like? Hasn't really blown up yet.
Receivers.
Right.
He broke out last year.
KJ
Osborne. You were on him before. But I mean, I think those guys are probably going to get the shot before old boy. But I do think they'll throw the ball a whole lot more. I guess that's the only hesitation I'd have about him is that there's some veteran guys that I think Kirk would maybe trust. Like, okay, I need this. Sure, they might have a foot of separation, but I'm going to go KJ because I know if I put it there, he's going to catch it. Or obviously JJ or TJ. That'd be my only concern, I guess.
Oh.
But yeah, I knew he was going to be fantastic for you guys in that offense.
So they are stacked in the score while Danny looks. They are stacked. You brought up an interesting one for yours. They're literally 42 and 43 on the score. And that's Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers and Odell Beckham Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and that's
really
probably
like
because
the
just the
take.
offense. But that's the thing. The offense is going to be different. It's not going to be run heavy or lined up in a goal line.
They're kind of all bundled together, so they can't make their decision either.
Right.
So which one are you doing? You are doing Odell out of all those.
I do like Zay Flowers as well. I think he's got a chance to be something special. I'm worried about size. He's really small.
But the continuity with
right
Rashad already too.
Yeah, but I think Odell's just a guy that Lamar is going to throw to.
He's going to feel comfortable.
He's going to feel comfortable. He knows he's a baller. He knows if I put it up, a jump ball, he's going to go up there and make a play.
Plus, he'll be in his ear if he's not getting it.
Right, probably a little bit. But he knows what he can do and knows the kind of athlete and how special he can be. Obviously, he's probably down a few notches after injuries and such, but he knows.
Yeah.
So I'd probably take him over all those for sure.
God, that's an interesting wide receiver room.
It
That
is.
one's
It
difficult
is.
for me. We're debating on the number one on that team.
Yeah,
What's that say? We say that about pitching all the time. It's not you can't have an ace if you think you have multiple.
Right.
You either have him or you don't. Right.
Yeah.
You may have a damn good core, but you obviously don't have an ace. You don't have the number one receiver because nobody can pick out the number one out of that.
Yeah. They are going to throw the ball a lot more.
I think to Odell, if I had to bet my money on it, but.
Yeah, and he traditionally is like a two-read guy, right? If Andrews isn't there, it's like, who's next? Hollywood Brown or whoever the hell.
Yeah, it was Mark Andrews and one more, and then he's gone.
Yeah.
Well, that's where we're going to find out whether he was actually worth that damn money. So you should be taking more than one read now, especially when they have receivers. There's no more excuses. That's a legit core right there. I mean, very young ones. You have a proven one, and you know what I'm saying? And you still have old trusty and Mark Andrews, too. So let's try to see if you don't have to run all the time.
I'm interested to see this offense this year not be so
simplistic,
run heavy, and real simple. Run heavy
Yeah.
deep shot. Run heavy deep shot. Or dump it off to Mark Andrews.
Yep.
So interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I really like the OBJ pick, but since you took that, I am going to go with the rookie, and I'm going to go with Njigba for Seattle.
Okay.
That dude is so good, and I think with the running backs being hurt all the time, they're going to have to pass the ball even more, and you've got some studs there right now,
Yep.
but they're going to be taking a lot of the heat off this young cat, and I think he's going to be able to show off, and they might use him a little bit different too because he's really athletic, so they might do some unique things with him, but I think he's going to have a really good year.
You think he's going to be in your starting lineup more times than
Yeah,
not?
I definitely
Okay.
could see it.
Not sold on Gino yet.
It's so hard to say
Fair.
that we
It's
are.
fair,
You know, it's
yeah.
very hard to
It's
say
so
that.
hard,
It
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Especially when Pete Carroll's out there throwing dimes in practice himself. So he
Right.
might take over the job himself at 71.
That man is
yeah.
nuts.
Gosh, I don't know.
Look-
Not sold on quarterback play.
Look at that division, though.
It's so
Right.
much. It's basically slammed
What did I
shut,
see the
right?
other day? They said he has
49ers by
Smith
4
has,
games?
has one drop, and that was uncontested. Like that was just on route running drill, with nobody contested. Everything else has been thrown his way. He's caught, even with people on him and stuff. It's like holy
Jackson?
shit. Yeah.
Yeah. He is damn good. So,
You know what's
But do you
scary?
take
know
away
what's
from-
scary? I hate to go college, but they say that Harrison Smith there is even better than him at Ohio State.
is he?
Yeah.
Oh, of course he is. Marvin Harrison
Yeah.
Jr.? Oh, yeah, I already
They're
know.
like, that's like holy
Dude's
shit. You-
stupid.
You, think, oh boy, like how
You
good
think
was
these
he?
guys are? Wait until Marvin Harrison Jr. comes out, or is
Yeah.
he the third?
We can't talk about that receiving room enough, man.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The guys that they had there, when Olave was probably the, I don't want to say worst, not best one. Like,
Right,
and
not
he's a
best.
fucking baller. Like,
Okay.
It's kind of like
Dude.
Alabama's when they roll them out, right? They run 3 wide receivers that could literally all start in the NFL, right?
Right.
Usually. Same
Yeah.
thing up at Ohio State. That's one thing they are battling for, and it's just stupid. Marvin Harrison, since you touched on the college part of it, our boy's going to, if he stays healthy, he's going to break receiver records this year. I really
Oh,
do
yeah.
believe that. I told you about like 2 years ago when he was kind of touching the map a little bit. You still had the big names out there at Ohio State. No one was paying attention. Homeboy dropped what? We had 5 touchdowns in a game. 4?
oh yeah, 4 or 5.
It's stupid. His route running, it's in his blood. His dad. Stop it.
That's
Yeah.
one of the Texas receivers going to light it up this year.
That's the reason why I didn't know if I wanted Addison. We could have we tried to figure out a way to get a quarterback and then get Marvin Harrison in the next year draft, but
There you go.
whatever. But was there anyone else you had in there?
No, I don't trust a lot of those other guys, to be honest with you. I don't want to say that they would be in my starting lineup more often than not.
Give me your 3 that you will not draft.
Ooh.
No way, shape, or form you draft. Don't care where it's at. Don't care if it's a 16th or final fucking round pick, and you've already drafted your shitty ass kicker that you won't take.
Let's go.
And I don't want your bottom. I'm talking. You know what I mean.
Yeah. Yep, I'm not touching Michael Pittman. We've already hit on that. That motherfucker burned me real good.
But that's your sensitive feeling part.
my
he
super
touched you
true.
naughty.
It
Yeah,
is.
he show us on the doll. I want to know a guy that you just had this weird feeling. No. 3 of them.
Oh, the weird feeling, huh?
Okay. All right.
I'm actually. Do you want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
And you guys can get it. I'm one of them for me is gonna be Jamison Williams. I think it's because of the Amon-Ra St. Brown, the suspension. He just got banged up again, and I was big on him in college. And when they went down, that team went down, right? Especially when they lost their second receiver after that. But I'm not sold yet. There's been too many hiccups, too many speed bumps for him to touch the field, right? Alan Lazard in no way, shape, or form. Don't care if you're with your homeboy in New York. I actually think that you're going to be like that dump off tight end ish for him more than anything. It's going to be your other cat getting most of it. There's not going to be any fantasy value there unless there's injuries. That'd be mine on that one. And then I'm trying to go non-low hanging fruit too. Like I'm not going to give you anything. Like I could say Jacoby Myers, of course, but that's the Raiders. Like right now, I think we're all kind of keeping a distance, right? And then my And then my last one, in no way, shape, or form do I want Rondale Moore. This one may surprise you because he's like the only receiver and he has the talent, and I like him. I do. I like him a lot. I liked him before the team started being decimated too, because he showed that spark every so often, right? So if they kept their team intact, his trajectory, I would have loved to have him. To where the team has went, and my guy wearing a sports bra at practice, I'm done. Rondale Moore, and I'm not saying Rondale was wearing that. His quarterback was.
Yeah.
Rondale is going to be that guy that in no way, shape, or form is he going to be on my team.
I like it. I'm gonna go Pittman. I'm sticking with my. That's a big one. That shit's never getting drafted. Gabe Davis. I'm not touching Gabe with the 10-foot pole. I know you like him. Last year he sucked. I don't know what his problem is, but they don't have a number 2 on that team, and I'll stand by that.
He's standing firm on this.
Yeah, I'm not big on that at all. And man, if I were to go one more, and I guess maybe it's kind of low hanging fruit, but I won't touch a Denver receiver either. Any of them.
Oh, I don't think that's low hanging. I think that's actually pretty, especially with this. This is even Russell. I'm actually more surprised that you wouldn't just with Sean Payton.
Yeah, I'm still so worried about Russ. Like, I think there might be some flashes of like doing a little bit better, but they can't protect him, and apparently he can't run anymore. So I don't trust any of those receivers, dude.
Okay. Not even a Jerry Jeudy.
No.
Okay. Hey, I like it.
All right.
That's actually pretty ballsy. Like that isn't. I don't think that's low hanging fruit. I think that's pretty. All right.
Right. I don't think I'm going anything. Juju Smith-Schuster, New England. I think they got kind of a quarterback thing going on there, and it'll be the same kind of rotation. I think they're all going to be looking over their shoulder, especially not only by the other quarterback but your head coach. So I think nobody gets comfortable in that set. They like to run the ball too. So I don't like it. Juju Smith-Schuster there. Jacoby Myers and Las Vegas. I think that whole organization has something going on. Devontae is going to be the guy getting thrown to. Jacoby's going to kind of be that guy that's standing on the outside.
Unfortunately for him, because I think he was starting to make a climb up, right, in the league.
Yeah.
And then all this happened. Raiders, go ahead.
Right. And then kind of same team, Marquise Brown. I just think the same thing. New offense. You're trying to learn it and pick it up. Your quarterbacks might not start the season. It's just not going to be good this year. Not going to be good. It's not sold on Kyler, throwing the ball as well. So when he comes back, it's probably going to take him a couple games to get settled in too. So Marquise Brown's fantasy value going to take a hit. So don't really not seeing myself drafting him as well.
I don't have a single problem with any one of those. A little shocked by Danny's Denver one. But other than that, I'm on board with it, except for the Michael Pittman. No, hold on. The Michael Pittman Jr., that's feelings.
That is feelings.
That is feelings.
That's one thing that I always try to like, and I got a little bit of feelings.
It is hard to, yeah.
Because I had Scary Terry for the last 2 years, but it's just like, he did well for me, and I was always play him no matter he's boom or bust. That's kind of what it turned into.
Pittman never did well for me, though. I didn't even get a taste of it. He did.
I never got okay. Yeah, so it is clearly he touched him in an inappropriate way.
He didn't even give him a kiss on the neck.
Right. No.
I think there was one game maybe he gave me 11 points. So if you want to call that well, but that's it, man. That's too tough. Because he's still getting drafted as like a number 2, isn't he? So sure. I can't do it.
You did bring up earlier, Danny, DeAndre Hopkins. Before we start wrapping this up here. Does Treylon Burks intrigue you, or does he scare you at all? Like for the DeAndre one, like taking some stuff away from him. I mean, they don't have that many shots, but he showed a little bit of spark last year. It took a little bit. I think it was it did not look good first like 4 games or something like that. And he started turning on a little bit, and I think he got banged up, and then he came back and he was okay. But anything there? Nothing. No intrigue at all.
No, not really.
So he kind of be an extension of what you're saying too, that you wouldn't want him on your team either.
Yeah, he's going to remind me of the Las Vegas offense. I think it's going to be run heavy, and your quarterback's going to have eyes for one guy. So,
but the way better version of Las Vegas.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, because they know how to win.
I say offensive wise.
Yeah.
No, I got run heavy. Jimmy G is not going to be the guy who's going to pass us right. He's going to be just your game manager, your solid game manager. He's going to have eyes for the one receiver. and they're going to run the ball. And I kind of think it's going to be the same thing. Obviously, better setup there, but yeah, I honestly, I'm not even sure if I want any part of that offense.
There's a lot of receivers out there. We're going to a 10-man this year. We may stick with 3. Don't know. We actually haven't discussed that part too much. May stick with 3. There's a lot of options out there. The more I'm sitting there looking at this, after those dudes, the top 10 that I named, is like, damn, there's a lot kind of bunched in right there that I feel pretty good about. There's a few, of course, I'm not saying on air right now. We'll wait until after our draft because there are a couple guys that, in my own mind, I'm sure you have your own too. You're not going to be – I know you're not going to be fully honest with everyone that you're thinking about.
What?
Yeah, I know deep down inside. I do have a question for Danny. I did roll out I went back and looked. It took a minute. I'm also fighting through ESPN. The draft order. What were you? Pick number 3?
Yep.
Where are you leaning? We asked Rio, where are you leaning towards going right there? Let's say he grabs JJ because that's one of his that's probably at his 50% mark, and a bunch of other people are right up in that mix.
Yeah.
Let's say somebody else grabs Christian McCaffrey. We'll say Christian McCaffrey. That's responsible enough, right? What are you thinking at 3? Give the listener something to kind of.
Yeah, it's tough because
a half point.
I'm really high on Jamar Chase too. I could see Jamar Chase there, but also you've got the other version of Christian McCaffrey in Austin Eckler, who's going to be. I think he's led the league in touchdowns the last 2 years, right? Like he's going to be a stud again this year, so he's up there too. But then you still have guys like Tyreek Hill who are in that category with JJ, right, and Chase. It's tough. I'm not sure. I've got to do a couple mock drafts to see like where things would line up. Like if I took a receiver versus Eckler or something. If it was a running back, it'd probably be Eckler. I guess I'll say that. But as far as the receivers go, I'm not 100% yet. There's a couple.
Okay, let's say theoretically 2 receivers go back to back. Danny, you have both running backs to choose from. Which way are you going then? Austin Eckler or Christian McCaffrey?
I think I would lean towards Eckler.
Would you?
Yeah.
Just because the health?
Yeah, the health thing is so big. Yeah. Yep, and San Francisco has that history of running backs just get hurt. On top of McCaffrey already has that issue, right?
Hold on, the Chargers
That's
have
what
a
I'm worried
history of
about.
everybody getting hurt.
Yeah, except for Eckler, he's been pretty solid, man.
All right, we're gonna get Danny's ranking here then. All right, then 2 running backs went. Which receiver?
JJ for sure. It's got to be hands down.
Well, it would be
Let's
JJ.
say he takes JJ, and then
Let's say I'm
you
4,
don't go,
right?
and then you don't. No, we'll just say you don't go running back.
Okay.
Which receiver are you taking? You just named a few. You
It's
said huge on Jamar or Tyreek.
Probably Jamar Chase, yeah.
Is it?
I've got more faith up there than because all the issues in Miami, who knows what's going to happen with Tua and shit like that. Yeah.
And Jalen Waddle's kind of coming into his own. I don't think he really minds who the quarterback is for his success.
Okay.
I'm not saying Tyreek's does either. He's kind of you just lob it down there, which I don't know if you guys saw that since we're on receivers. Tyreek Hill got asked, what does he look at in game tape when it comes to corners?
Yeah, I saw that.
Did you see this?
He goes on Madden the night before and
That's
sees what they're
amazing.
good at.
See looks
what
at their
their
score.
traits.
Yeah, see what their score is. He doesn't watch any game tape. He's like, I watch none. No game tape.
He's the kind of guy that can get away with that, though, right? He
Yeah.
gets open on every play. It doesn't matter.
What is it? What did he say? The number one thing he said one. He called one out in particular. It was like their awareness. Was that it? I think it was their like defensive awareness. Other than that, no game tape.
Yeah.
And it's Madden. It's off Madden rankings and off their stats.
That's wild, man.
It's wild.
That's something that will come out of that man's mouth, though, right? Like you're not shocked by that.
Not
Right.
at all.
So never watch game tape. Well,
But
you can
you're
kind of do that
playing-
when you can run past everybody.
You're
Yeah.
playing one. That's got to be besides kicker and punter. That's got to be probably one. That's got to be the easiest position in football, right?
What, wide receiver?
Yeah. You're
think
going
it's-
where nobody else knows but you and another guy.
But you have to learn the tree and you have to know the whole offense too.
Especially saying
Are you talking about?
you can't get smashed
Are you
anymore
talking about
either.
after you have the playbook down?
Right. Yeah. You got
Okay.
playbook.
Okay,
Take the
Let's say-
smart
I got you.
side out of it. I mean, that's got to be the toughest.
Yep.
Fucking.
It's got to be the
Football.
easiest. It was probably the
Or sorry,
toughest
yeah.
to get down.
It's- yeah.
Probably the toughest to get down,
It's the
or the second
easiest,
toughest
yeah.
to get
But
down, but the easiest to
one
actually,
go and play.
especially with the way the defense has to be played nowadays. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you. Yeah,
And it's funny, the opposite end, besides quarterback, Like a DB is probably the hardest,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I
So-
seen you that deal, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100% defensive back. is the
Actually,
hardest.
we might have just broken into an epiphany here. Theirs might be the easiest schematic defense to remember. Part of their job. Besides, defensive line is pretty goddamn easy for the most part.
Yeah.
But the corner is that, especially if you're supposed to be the guy, you're playing a one, you know what you're supposed to do for the play call. Flip it around, and like you just said, it just turned into the hardest job because you don't know where they're going. You're going against the best athletes.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to put hands on them,
Yeah.
and that you can't hit them late. You can't do this,
If
that,
they
and the
get
other.
1 yard of separation, that's
gone.
the
You're
difference.
playing
Yeah.
with the best quarterbacks in the world.
Right.
That's all you
The
need.
best athletes in the world.
You don't even need a yard of separation, so you got to be on it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm liking it. You gentlemen, either one of you have a make sense? If not, we'll talk feelings.
Let's get into our feelings.
Okay.
Getting our feelings.
So, makes sense if you don't think about it. We have an acquaintance. Sorry. We have an acquaintance that, always wants everybody's help, like opinion. He wants every part of ways for you to direct him. He wants to be part of a conspiracy thought process. There's always something going on. You give him the opinion. You give him everything you want.
God damn.
And then it gets pulled the other way. It gets flipped around the other way, right? This person's being too mean. They're being a big brother, and he just won't let me, and they won't let me live my life, right? But then you say, okay, I'm going to do that, and then you have feelings the other way, saying, why the hell? Why aren't you gonna help me out? Why do you stand up for this? Why do you do that? I'm like, and then you go and say, well, didn't you have a big old problem with somebody acting like big brother like this second, but the next second you want? Isn't that the definition of perfect? Makes sense if you don't think about it.
So this individual wants help, but then doesn't really want help,
Yeah,
Right? right?
yeah. There you go. Kind of like a drug addict, but a different mental version of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, does that make sense? I'm sure you guys all have met a drug addict or have maybe even had one
Yeah.
in the family or something. You know that you've seen it firsthand. They want help, but they don't.
Yeah.
You know, they want help. They think they want help, but they can't stop. They can't stop what they're doing.
Yeah, Mama's addicted to something else, but bless her heart.
Fuck that. She's a classy lady. Will you stop? She loves me. She don't even know it.
That's fucked up because I'm not even sure if she loves me.
Oh man.
Miss her.
God damn it, real. Take my mind, my
Anyways,
thought process.
sorry.
But like I said, isn't that the definition of perfect makes sense if you don't think about it?
Definitely
Yeah.
does.
Especially when you keep asking. You keep asking for assistance. You keep asking for the opinion. What am I supposed to do? You want to cry. You want to talk about your feelings. Eventually, I will say it's a man, but acts a lot like a female. And like I am married. I have kids. Like I have daughters. So I deal with enough feelings. When I come hang out with my guys, my bros or whatever, feelings shouldn't be a part of that. Like not in that sense of feelings. Like I'm not saying we don't get testy, we don't get pissed, anything like that. Yeah, that's natural. When we get over it, usually within a day or so, or whatever it is. This is like female feelings. I'm like, oh my god, I need a break. Like my head hurts.
So when you say get over it, usually that's because you just fucking meet it and you fucking figure it out, right? You're like, hey,
Yeah.
this pissed me off, fucking whatever, and you hash it out and it's done, right?
Yep.
It's done.
And
Yep.
so it sounds like this individual doesn't do that.
No.
Just kind of beat
no.
around the bush, upset about things,
Yeah.
but don't really tell people.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like if you say something on a podcast at the end and then gets pissed because people post it up when you don't think it was a problem because you were chuckling. And quite honestly, video editing is a pain in the ass. So, yeah, something like that, Danny. Yeah, you know, how do you know? How do you know this?
Interesting.
So
I
interesting.
feel like I've heard this story.
My bad, but makes sense if you don't think about it.
So familiar. Makes sense if you don't think about it.
Yeah,
Perfect.
gotta get that one out there, just in case I wasn't the only one that thought maybe I'm crazy. Sometimes you don't know that you're crazy.
Well, you are, but you're not the only one.
This is a great way to figure out if that individual listens to the podcast too, right?
Oh, he for sure
Oh.
does.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh.
I disagree.
you disagree?
Yeah,
You
I
think
disagree.
so?
$5.
Disagree.
$5.
$5. We don't hear anything about this.
Most likely.
Ooh, I got 5 on you. How much time do I got?
Wait.
Without and nobody say anything, of course.
Yeah.
Nobody saying anything?
Nobody say anything. How much time do I have though for that 5? Like do
A week.
Yeah, you get a week.
So actually isn't our draft isn't next weekend, right? That's 2
No,
weekends away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give me until 2 weeks then.
Till the draft?
Yeah, till the draft.
Okay.
Then we can literally call it out right there, right?
Okay.
Right? Okay.
Man,
All right.
All right.
That's assuming that this person randomly that I'm talking about would show up to our fantasy draft. 'Cause
yeah, exactly.
you don't know.
You never know.
But yeah, that's what I have, Jim.
Definitely
Boom.
makes sense if you don't think about it.
That it does.
Well, let's start to wrap this bitch up, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who found us on the interwebs and really like the show, be sure to like, subscribe, share the whole 9 yards. But where's the podcast available, Jimmer?
Anywhere and everywhere podcasts are available. Just draw a blank and we'll just keep going. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. YouTube.
Let's go. Be
Dude,
sure.
I did. I prayed for it so hard. I'm like, just thinking about
Saw you over there
this
clapping.
$5.
You're like, I don't know.
Like, shit.
Where are we at?
Yeah.
Any one of
That's
them.
all right.
Let's do it.
But we love to tell a good story and even bash on people that are just kind of being bitches. So hit us up. Let us know if you got one you want us to share. Just go ahead and slide on in.
To our DMs. Get us that story. We can get it out to all the folks that want to hear it. You know we do as well. We can omit names, leave stuff out. It doesn't matter, but get us those funny, hilarious, cool, whatever stories.
If you know more about fantasy, you think you do than us.
Oh, yeah.
Tell
let
us.
us know. We'll tell you where you're wrong.
Absolutely. Beat you down.
Yeah, not too
100%
bad.
Beat you
but a
down
little
on it.
bit.
But
Yeah.
you know what? We appreciate it too. Get us corrected.
Yeah,
Give us why.
let's go. We're never wrong. Just
Sometimes misinformed.
exactly, baby. Well, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you, everybody, for listening. This is 3 Gig Sports.
We out.